Our next guest has had a multifaceted career to the extent that movies are made after men of this caliber. He's a martial artist pro, karate champion, bodyguard, actor, writer, TV personality, special lecturer, and involved with charities. Welcome from Stockholm, Sweden, Mike Spreitz.
Almost.
Did I almost get that right?
Yeah, you were close.
Spreitz. I always mess up. Sorry, folks. For those that are listening, I'm trying to pronounce Mike's last name in front. That's Austrian background. So if you want to let our listeners know exactly how you would say it, that would be great. So no one messes it up.
Yeah, it's like Sprite, but in the beginning it's a sh, so it's Spreitz.
Spreitz.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that, my friend.
No, don't worry.
Hey, my last name's Postil, and everybody screws up my last name. They say Postil and Pistol and Pastel and
Mike Pistol. That's kind of a that's a good one.
So I just tell people I'm the friendlier version of Hostile Postil, and then you can remember that.
Postil.
So Mike, I really appreciate you coming on. You're 9 hours ahead of us. So it's 10 o'clock here on the West Coast, California, United States. Mike's time is just after 7 o'clock p.m. in Stockholm, Sweden. So, Mike, you have one long storied career, my friend, and it's amazing. You know, as I said, people write movies, make movies, produce movies, write books about guys like you. So, and they probably will. So, let's get into things. As a kid, you grew up in Stockholm, Sweden. Is that correct?
Yeah.
As a kid? Okay.
Correct.
All right. So, and you mentioned your dad is from Austria. So is your mom Swedish?
My mom is Swedish.
Okay. So they met.
My dad came to Sweden at 1961. And at that time, you know, when they came in, they had some style, you know, they came in suits and stuff. And the Swedish guys were like farmers, all of them. So he said it was a good time to come.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Now, are you, do you have any brothers, sisters?
Yeah, I got two brothers.
Two brothers. Okay. Are they, you kind of in between? You the youngest, oldest?
No, I'm the oldest one.
Ah, okay. The reason why I ask is because I have three sons. And so my youngest, he always wanted to do what the older brothers were doing. So I'm getting to how did you get into martial arts? And sometimes it's harder for the older kid to maybe get into that. I was the older kid of our family, but I kind of had a temperament and a personality, and I wanted to learn, you know, boxing, karate, martial arts at a young age, and kept going. So anyways, so when exactly, how old were you when you started getting into karate? Which you
I was 14. And I had some friends, they started Kung Fu, and I thought it looked, you know, I can knock you out. And I mean, just tell me, we'll meet.
Right.
You know? So, but then I noticed, you know, they knew some stunts, and I was like, wow, maybe I need to start practicing too. So I started karate instead. And I remember I was kind of a rowdy kid. So my first competition, my first fight, I met this guy. He was already in the national team.
Oh, wow.
And I was like 16 years old. And I didn't know who was in the national team or not. So I was going to meet this guy, and my coach was also in the national team. So he told me, look at that mama's boy. Just go in there and you know, kick his ass. And I went in, and, you know, like 25 seconds later, it was over.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So now, for those that are listening, Mike is a big guy, 6'6", 2 something, and he can obviously handle himself. So at 16, how were you 6'6" by then? Well, how tall are you?
I was 6'6", but I looked like this.
Yeah, string bean.
You know? A
pole.
The man with one dimension, just length.
Wow. So 16, so long reach, arm wise and leg wise.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I got so beat up, and I thought, Jesus Christ, this guy, he was fast and he was good, and that got me going. And I thought, I need to practice.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had this super skilled teacher, sensei, a Swedish guy, but he was fantastic. And then I competed for them a couple of years, and then I moved to another dojo, and that's when it all took off. I got into the national team, and yeah.
I'm sorry, how old were you when you made the national team?
20.
Wow, awesome. Very cool. And then
that was cool.
So you were on the national team. When did you become? So I think it was twice you became the Swedish national karate champion. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And so when was the first time?
I don't remember the first time. I remember the last time. That was 2010.
Right. Not too long ago.
No. I was 46 years old at the time.
Wow. And how old was your opponent?
I don't know.
20s?
25 maybe.
Yeah, the reason why I ask is for those that have trained, those have been in fights, those have done real deal stuff. Think about a guy in his 40s, 46, fighting some dude in his 20s. So anyone that's not experienced in martial arts or fought or whatever, that's fine. But I'm sure you've watched a UFC or a cage fight, and they're usually young guys that have a lot of cardio, that are strong and fast. And Mike, that's
but
awesome.
The thing was, I did I had a character in a film. That was they called me the killing machine, and that was on that note that I came into the competition. So everyone was expecting the killing machine, and the guy was going to meet me, a 25-year-old. Were like, holy shit, like this. I had a lot of a big advantage.
Right.
But it was good.
Well, you definitely had the mindset too. So, I mean, your mindset is, I'm going to destroy you. So, you have a gnarly mindset, Mike. So that's great. That's awesome. I love the mindset. So you're on the national team. When did you get into the whole, becoming a bodyguard, executive protection? Did that come about before becoming an actor, vice versa, at the same time, integrated?
No, it was actually, let's see, the first time I got, noticed in press-wise, in a newspaper or something, about my protection thing was, I think it was when I had Tommy Lee when he was in Stockholm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was that, and so that was when he was, I'm sorry. Was that when Tommy Lee was doing his kind of techno thing by himself, separated from the band, Motley Crue?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
But then they said, now he's in safe hands, blah, blah. And then it referred to my character in the film. I'm bad at years. I don't know what year it was, but I think that was the first time. But then I got contacted. I didn't go with any, a company or something. They got a hold of me, and I worked. So.
Well, thank you. I'm looking at the notes you provided. Again, thank you for that. I have 3 different security companies here, and you were the head of, I don't want to butcher the names, but Cafe Opera and Riche. And anyway, so there's 3 different companies there. So I guess you ran 3 different companies for a while, right?
No, there was actually one company. There's 3 different nightclubs.
Oh, I'm sorry. Those are nightclubs. Yeah. My bad.
So it was me and 2 friends who had a company, and we ran those 3 places, and then some small restaurants.
Okay, cool.
So in Stockholm, we have a coat room. If you come to a restaurant, there's always a coat room. Mm-hmm. And at that time, let's say at Riche, this place, maybe you had like 2,000 visitors every night.
Wow.
And everyone had to pay $2, to hang the coats in. Mm-hmm. And,
adds up.
Dollar by dollar.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting a good take on that. Very cool.
Yeah. So it was good. It's a
Did
good
you?
time, and that was long ago.
Yeah. Were there? And when I ask questions, if they delve too personal, just cut me off, whatever. But I'm going to ask
Don't worry, man.
questions because people that are listening are going to go, "Wow, really cool what Mike's done. I'm thinking of doing that," or "How did Mike do that?" And so maybe it helps them speed up the process. That's one of the reasons why I started this podcast, is to give back and help people listen to experts like yourself, so they can possibly glean some information, and maybe it makes it a little easier for them what they're doing. So, were there any issues while you were doing the door work, security work for those places, or were you able to just use your experience, your mouth, your communication skills?
No, there was a lot of drunk idiots coming up and no, I want to come in. No, you can't, and we had some hustle, but it was okay.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Except from one, we had a big tragedy. This place called Sturecompagniet. There was a shootout. 3 guys came over and they took out like an AR-15 and they shot, I don't know, 3 or 4 people, killed 3 or 4 people, and there was a lot of people that was injured, and so that was a big drama.
Wow. Were you working?
Other from that was kind of a change in Stockholm. After that, we had a big gangster war here, and all hell broke loose. Before that, it was like super quiet, and at the most, maybe you punch someone in the face. But after that, it started to go south.
Right.
People got pretty ruthless, and it was a bad time.
And so were you working that night that incident had happened?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I wasn't working at that place. I was working at Riche.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were any of your friends that were working get injured? They were okay, or?
Yeah, they were hired by our company. So one of them, he was actually a good friend of mine's older brother, and he got killed. Yeah, and then a friend of mine who was working with me in the coat room, his girlfriend was killed.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so that was tragic.
Sorry about that, Mike. So you had the bodyguard work, private security at clubs, and then you started, and then maybe you got noticed more. And what was that spark, or what was that break for you that got you into being an actor?
I was working at the police academy at one time as behavioral. We tried to get them to communicate instead of just coming in like this.
Mm-hmm.
So like a communicative conflict treatment kind of thing.
Right.
And then a policeman who's a friend of mine, he said, are you interested in filming? And I did some extra stuff before that. And I said, yeah, what's it about? And he said, oh, I got a friend who's auditioning people. So here's a number. And I said, okay. So I called her and I did the audition. And then one day I was downtown. I remember I was in a store with a friend and I got a phone call. And they said, you got the role. And I told my friend, I got the role. And he's like, what? And I didn't know then at the time it was for the girl with the dragon tattoo. So, yeah, I got it. And at that time, when I knew I was going to get it, I started lifting weights. I was up at 300 pounds because I was going to be like he was a giant and he couldn't feel any pain.
Wow. 6'6", 300 people. That's a big dude. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So I got to watch that movie again. That was a pretty trippy, dark movie. It's
a trilogy. And my character pops up in the second episode.
Okay.
And yeah, he's got this.
Would that be
disease?
Sorry, go ahead.
No.
So
What's that?
would that be the girl that kicked the hornet's nest or the girl who played with fire?
Men that hates women is the first one, and then you see too many punches to the head. I can't remember.
No worries. You have an illustrious career, my friend. There's like so much to talk about. So I'm trying to condense your life in, so many minutes anyways. So, I mean, you and I could talk for hours. Men that hates women. Boy, you could never hear that nowadays.
No.
With all the wokeness. And I mean that in a positive light. So, and for those listening, when I'm speaking to Mike here, if you've ever seen the movie with Liam Nelson, excuse me, Liam Nelson, Neeson. Gee, good Lord, sorry. We start over again. Anyways, that guy with Taken, I'm talking to that kind of dude. And the one guy that I really, we talked about this in the past, Mike, is the movie Leon, the professional.
Yeah.
And so now I'm going to kind of get to your family. If anyone has seen the 1994 movie Leon, which has Natalie Portman as a little girl, and I forget that French actor's name, but also Gary Oldman.
Jean Reno.
Okay, thank you. And Gary Oldman was in it. It's if you love action and fighting and bullets and bombs and all that, it's a badass movie. I love it. So, anyways, that movie rings big time of Mike. And Mike totally. And where I'm going with that is because when I first met Mike, he was here living in the United States for some time. And he would always come into the same gym that we trained at called the Tomaselli Academy. And when I first saw Mike, I see this big guy just beating the crap out of these bags. And I'm like, who's that guy? And Tomaselli's like, oh, you don't know who Mike is? And I'm like, no, who is that guy? And so he told me, I'm like, oh, wow, I need to meet Mike. And, but the really cool thing is he would bring his young daughter in. And as a father of, again, 3 kids who really loves to see kids do well and grow up to be good humans, Mike would always bring his daughter with him and make sure she was happy and taken care of and either doing her homework or being preoccupied before he would start training. And I just love to see your interaction, Mike, with your daughter. It was a special moment. It was really cool to see. So you're welcome. So that's why I bring up the movie Leon or The Professional, because it just, for certain reasons, reminds me, your real life of that movie, but obviously a different spin with that movie. So you're back in Stockholm, Sweden, where you grew up, and your daughter's back with you there.
She came. I came here in February 1st, and she came July 16th.
Okay.
So we were apart for 4 months, and that was terrible. My God. We talked every day, a couple of times a day. But, the feeling when she got back, wow.
A lot of joy.
Yeah. That was a big moment.
That's hard to see your daughter every day and then absolutely nothing.
Yeah, no, that was terrible.
That would be really hard for me. That would be tough. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you have an older daughter as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's 25.
And does she live in Sweden?
She lives here too.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah. Awesome. And so, and I believe currently you have a girlfriend and you guys live together in Stockholm?
Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool.
She's got 2 kids too, and she's got 2 sons, and the younger son and my daughter, they're good friends. So she calls me, his name is Jackson. So she calls me and said, is Jackson home? And I'm like, yeah, he's home. Okay, I'll come over. That's cool.
That's very cool. Hey, there's nothing better than family. So,
it's all that matters.
Amen. Yes, sir. I was reading your bio here, and I backing up a bit back in the day, you went, I see you had a stint in the military. Is that correct? You had some military training. Is that correct?
But that's mandatory. It was at that time.
At that time. Okay.
Yeah. So everyone had to do it. And I wanted to be a ranger, but since I was competing and I was on my way into the national team, or at least that was my goal. I wanted to be close to Stockholm. So, yeah. Okay. But that was mandatory at the time, and I did my 7.5 months, and, you know,
and you're done.
Not a big thing. Right. I think it was good. It would have been a good thing now with all these, you know, these guys that come in from, you know, immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
They have a different culture, and, you know, they get a more some kind of structure in their life. I think that's good for everyone. So to me, the military was good, actually.
Right. Well, there's something to be said if you go in the military for obviously discipline, structure, being humble, a lot of things. But very cool. Yeah. I also see that you went to culinary school.
Yeah.
So everybody, not only is he a badass and an actor and this famous guy, but he's kind of a chef too. Culinary school. Wow, that's awesome. So, so who cooks at night, or who does the cooking? Is it you or your girlfriend?
You know, I'm so fed up with my, you know, how I season things. So when she cooks, whatever she does, it's so good. I'm like, thank you.
Oh, God. Very
and
cool.
She has, you know, I'm vegetarian, so she has a lentil casserole.
Ooh.
To die for.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah,
I got to get that from you. Because I don't know if you know, but the last 2 years I had adult onset migraines, and so who knows where they came from. But anyways, a lot of speculation. But there was one period, Mike, for 3 months I had a migraine every day. Mm-hmm. It was brutal. You want to talk about like, boom. I would rather have you, Mike, choke me out, kick me out, knock me out, whatever. They were brutal. And for those that suffer from migraines, you know what I'm going through. But so I've been able to get it under control, but I had to finally retire from sparring. Obviously I don't do that anymore, but I still do my martial arts and train, but to keep the rust off. But I have to be careful because I have these gnarly migraines. And so where I'm getting at with this is I'm playing around with cutting out my meat in my diet, animal wise, which, I mean, I love animals, but, and I joke around with that, but, I don't know if it's affecting my migraines because I have certain brain things go on. So I'm trying to be more of a vegetarian, like you just mentioned. And so when you said the lentil casserole, I was like, interesting, because I'm trying to find all these ways to now eat, you know, like you can't just pull up to a taco shop or a hamburger joint or have a pizza, slice of pizza. I can't do it anymore. I have to like really be careful.
Well, you can actually do it, you know, and especially in California. When I lived in Costa Mesa, there was a place called Nice Guys, and it was like a
Nice Guys
hamburger stand, and they had everything in there was vegan.
Oh,
they had chicken. Yeah, they had chicken burgers and chicken sticks and different kind of hamburgers, bacon, cheese, whatever, but it was all vegan.
Interesting.
The cheese was made out of cashew nuts, and the bacon was made out of coconut. So it's not that hard. It used to be hard, but now it's a piece of cake.
Well, I started 4 years ago a gluten-free diet because I had to. I tested positive for the celiac gene, so I had to go this gluten thing, non-gluten, and I wasn't doing it because it was a fad or, hey, I'm non-gluten, everybody. I had to. And so, 4 years ago, I was so angry because there was not a lot of places but you're right. Nowadays, there's a lot of non-dairy, gluten-free, vegan type places to eat. And for those listening, I'm not on some horse trip here. You know, you want to pound down a big ribeye. I love ribeyes. So go ahead. How about it? Big chicken thing, do your thing. But as you get older in life, you know, things change, and we're like used vehicles, used cars, and you got to tweak things. So I don't know. It's not about me. It's about you, but it's interesting when you bring that up. So I didn't know you were a vegetarian. So that's interesting.
Yeah. But I tried for 6 months when I was in California to go full vegan. And it was such a big difference. You know, my stamina just, when I was done, with my workout, I sat down and I thought, Jesus, did I miss anything? Because I wasn't tired.
Really?
Yeah, and I told Tommy at the gym, there was a big, big difference. And just from going from vegetarian to vegan. But, then I got my daughter and she loves baking. So I had to stop the vegan thing because, Dad, let's make some cookies. And I couldn't eat it. And it's not working. So
yeah, absolutely. It's hard, especially when a lot of your family members are just eating whatever.
Yeah.
I find that myself. I find it hard. It's difficult, especially, during the holidays, at least here in the United States, where we have Thanksgiving and Christmas and holiday type parties. It's hard, but that's interesting. So I'm going to keep trying that to see how my stamina is. But for some reason, it seems like I'm not having as bad migraines. I don't know what. So if there's a doctor listening, let me know. But very close.
Look at the gladiators, the Roman gladiators.
Yes.
They were all vegan.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Look at that, everybody. See, you learn every day.
The UFC guys, Nick, what's the other one called? Yeah, the Diaz brothers.
The Diaz brothers, right?
Yeah, they're both
Nick
vegan.
and Nate.
Nick and Nate, yeah.
They're vegetarian?
Oh, they're vegan.
Oh, vegan, excuse me.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sure people are listening going, get it right, Postil. It's vegan, vegetarian. Bah. Okay, whatever. I'm trying.
It's not the biggest difference. It's okay.
Yeah, no, cool. That's interesting. Did not know that. So anyways, I'm trying to do that trip. So gosh, maybe I don't know if it's a secret, but if your girlfriend's willing to part that recipe, I would love to try it out.
That's good.
I mean, I can't just drive over and see you. You're a little, we're kind of far apart.
It's not around the corner.
No, you're definitely not around the corner. In fact, this is the longest connection because I do my podcasts or episodes remotely. And so again, Mike, Stockholm, Sweden. I'm here in Newport Beach, California, USA. So quite a distance there. So Mike, do you have, because we kind of miss you at the gym, do you have plans to come back to the US anytime or any projects coming on or?
Yeah, I've got projects coming on. I just started this Monday, I got contacted by the Swedish government to advise them about this gang-related violence. That's, it's a big problem now in Sweden.
Yeah.
So I'm going back now in not this Monday, but the next one, and to meet the financial department too, and see what we can do.
Okay.
That's it's like my purpose, except for my kids, to make all these young boys feel good again and feel good about themselves and the stuff they do. So that's kind of a calling I have.
When you say young boys, are these young kids, young boys that are getting into trouble? Out in the streets and doing things?
Yeah, and it's all gang related. I was working at the juvenile detention center. Yeah. And there were some guys there that, 16, 17 years old, that was in for murder, but they were just, kids that was set aside by parents and no positive male role model. And that's what we talk about. Yeah. Or I talked about when I was in the government too. So, and to me, that's a big honor. When they called me, I thought it was a friend who was, screwing me. And I was like, hey, stop it.
Right.
What do you mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Congrats. That's,
thank you.
That's amazing, Mike, that you're, basically the head people of your country are contacting you for help.
Yeah. That's cool.
That's awesome. I don't know if you say congratulations, but I guess you would. So,
I think so. Even if they're not from my, we don't have the same political views on things, but it's a big social problem now in Sweden. People get shot once a week, they kill someone. And for Sweden, that's a lot.
Wow.
If you're downtown LA, maybe it's not a big deal, but here we're not used to it.
Yeah, unfortunately, cities here in the United States have some serious problems and have for decades.
Yeah.
But I have noticed that things have ramped up a bit in your homeland, which is unfortunately, it's interesting, but it's unfortunate. So that's a big honor to be recognized that they bring you in. That's awesome.
It is. I'm super grateful, and I was super surprised. And I told my daughter, and she was like, "What? The government called you?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Oh my gosh, your daughter must levitate because she looks at you as such a king, or a god. As young kids do. And I mean that positive, like, the you can see the sparkle or the gleam in a young kid's eyes when they really appreciate you or love you. And at least for me as a father, I try to do everything best to help out my boys, to make sure they become good men. And I've told you how I was DOA in a car crash and came back when I was young.
Yeah.
And I firmly believe I was brought back to eventually raise 3 boys to become good men. And if people out there think that's corny, well, you haven't walked in my shoes, so I don't care.
No, but that's my purpose, and probably yours too.
Yeah.
To be a present, positive male role model. I've got a saying here, the boys, they become a copy of their dad, and the girls find a guy who's a copy of their dad. So something like that.
No, it's very. I like that.
I don't know if I told you about this before, but there was a time when I was living in California. I didn't have any job. I was more or less homeless. With my daughter, I didn't have to sleep in parks and stuff, but I was sleeping in a garage, and me and my daughter went to Ralph's to buy some food, and my cards bounced, and I didn't have any money, and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I can't even support my own kid, and I didn't feel that good. And then I just had to tell her, my cards bounced, so let's head home. And she's like, Daddy, don't we have any food?
That's tough.
I'll fix it.
Right.
Yeah, I'll fix it. Don't worry. And on my way home, I got a phone call, and it's a friend of mine who's working executive protection too. And he said, how are you doing? I said, not very good. My cards bounced, and, I haven't got anything to do. So he asked me, do you want some extra job? And I said, sure. So I got a bodyguard job. And then he asked me, do you want me to send you some money? Like sell me some money? And I said, sure, like $200. No problem. So he sent me $200, and I told my daughter, okay, baby, let's go back to Ralph's. She's like, but you don't have any money. And I said, no, I have. And she looked at me, and I'll never forget that face. She was like, wow, who are you?
Magic man.
Got money just like that.
Right.
Yeah, so that was cool.
Well, God bless those people that helped you out, and had your back. That's amazing.
It happened a couple of times. I had to extend my visa, and that was at the gym where I met, the most meaningful conversations I had it at the gym. Those people, and I'll be forever grateful. I needed to extend my visa. I was run down. I was tired. I was sad. A lot of things happened, and I started crying, and this guy comes up and he said, why are you sad? And I said, I need to extend my visa, and this sucks. I need to go back to Sweden. And he gave me 2,000, just like that. And I was like, what? And he said, this is a paid forward thing. So you don't have to pay me, give it to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So, not many people think of California as in that way, there's a lot of narcissistic behavior, and, everything is for me.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome. Outstanding. I love those stories. Yeah, my wife and I, we try to help as many people as possible. There's so much, life, there are no guarantees in life, so appreciate what you have, or, appreciate what you're trying to get, work hard towards it, and definitely appreciate those that give you any help. Right.
Yeah.
So, and then paving it forward, that's awesome. So I'm obviously, well, yeah, there's some really good people at that gym. And some interesting stories to talk to, especially if you get on conversations with Tommy Wish. How you doing, brother?
Or Mike or Morgan,
Mike
or
Tomaselli,
Larry, or Jerry, or
yeah. Or you ever talk to Ken Smith?
Yeah.
The gentle juggernaut. Kenny, love you, bro. I mean, my God, that guy, you look at him and you just think he's some personal trainer, Viking looking guy. Yeah. He's super brilliant, plays piano, super smart. I mean, super smart, savvy guy, but he's this gnarly dude that'll get
he's got a heart this big,
Yes.
There was an actress coming over. She was going to do some fight coordination things, and she wanted me to look at it. And Kenny came over and said, "I can help you out," and did a beautiful thing. And he said, "No, it's okay. I don't want any money. It's okay. Just he's
big hearts."
The people I met there was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. So if people are wondering, this is the Tomaselli Academy. At the time, it was in Costa Mesa off Harbor Boulevard, in between Wilson and good Lord, Santa Isabel. So now he's in Santa Ana off Main, etc. Anyways, that's where Mike and I were training, and a lot of good dudes and gals would come in and train. And it's not just one particular style. I mean, you had people like Marco Huas there teaching his version of Muay Thai. You had Dave Jansen, OC Muay Thai. Guys like you, Mike, were coming in, famous fighters. Mike Tomaselli with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then he's obviously very good stand-up too. He got his black belt under Marcos. Yeah. Joe Moreira was there. There's some serious people that were coming in there, and then a lot of young dudes that people don't know that know how to bang. So anyways, and it's still a great place. So I'm thankful for that place, Mike, because I was able to meet you and people like you.
Likewise.
Yeah. So now that you're an older, wiser man, what you've got things working with the government. Are there any other things you have in store, or?
It haven't started yet with the government, but hopefully it will. And he initiated another meeting, so that's a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always, on the go for something. I'm not a 9-to-5 kind of guy, so I meet people and we do some stuff, and it works out. I'm not super wealthy. I'm not even wealthy, but I survive and I have a pretty good life, I think.
Yes, very good outlook.
I've been working with people that, they got shitloads of money, but money doesn't equal happiness. So then why chase it like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
When I was living with my daughter at that, at that time, I was living indoors at the same house, but we went out to the garage, me and my daughter, and she said, "Daddy, do you remember when we were back in the States when we went out in the garage and took Amazon boxes and made a dollhouse out of it?" And I was like, "Oh my God," it felt like a knife, straight in my heart. And I said, "Yeah, I remember it, but now we got money enough to buy a dollhouse anyway." And she looked at me. It's like, "No, that was a good, thing. It was you and me, and we did wallpapers out of, paper, and it was nice."
Wow. Well, your daughter's.
I didn't spend.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't spend 10 cents, but she remembers it as a good thing. And I felt super bad. I was like, "Oh my God, she remembers. Oh, wow, that's not good." But to her, it was a good experience. And I remember my dad when he had restaurants and stuff. So he was well off. He had not a lot of money, but he had money. But I remember the best when he was delivering batteries in a truck, and I was going with him for a day. that was in my dad's truck, you know, that was like, wow, my dad is driving a truck and he's delivering batteries to people. That was a big thing. I didn't, you know, when we lived in a big house and he had 2 cars and he gave me a motorcycle and blah, blah, blah. That was nothing compared to hanging out with him, you know, spending time with my dad.
Well, that goes back to what I was mentioning earlier, how kids are so impressionable that they look to their parents like you're a queen or a king or, you know, a god. Hopefully, yes, absolutely. Well, in this scenario, they are. So, but yes, absolutely. And that's why parents, you know, they talk about how you don't need parents. Really, you do need parents. Kids need parents. The kids need discipline, and hopefully, the parents have their heads screwed on properly that can provide that discipline in a good structure, and then include them in daily activities like your dad taking you around to all his customers. That's amazing. That's showing life skills. That's showing what your dad's doing in a positive light. And then you creating a dollhouse out of, you guys hear what Mike said? He had no money, zero dinero. And he created a dollhouse for his daughter out of cardboard. If that doesn't hit you in the heart, you need to dunk yourself in a cold ice bath and wake the F back up. That's, Mike, that, I mean, when you first told me that, I was like in tears. That was a big thing to me. That's amazing, Mike. And then, your daughter has like an old, we say in the United States, like an old soul, and that's a positive.
She's got an old soul.
She's got such a genuine quality old soul, which again, as I was talking earlier, when she was in the gym, most kids can't sit there patiently and watch their dad train, you know, and do homework or whatever else. Your daughter was on it, man. She had things locked down.
But you know, I always spent time with her. I took her, you know, time with her instead of working, which didn't fall out well, you know, with my girlfriend at the time. But you know, it is what it is. I wanted to spend time with her, and that's what I did. You know, she hung out with me and my friends, and I didn't do stuff that I couldn't show her. Which, you know, I don't drink, I don't do any drugs, nothing. And, you know, she can always be with me. So
very cool.
Pretty transparent to her.
Awesome. Well, and it shows, Mike, you have a outstanding daughter. I can't speak for your other daughter. I've never met her. I know she's older. She lives in Sweden, and God bless her. Hopefully she's doing okay. But all I can go from is, you know, from seeing you with your younger daughter. So very cool. Well, Mike, I really appreciate your time. It's been an honor to speak to you. A lot of stuff you've done, Mike. And again, I suggest everybody listen to this episode, maybe listen to it again, and appreciate the humility, the spirit that Mike has, his mindset, and the goals he's achieved and what he's continuing to do in life, and also help with his daughter, his girlfriend, etc. So, Mike, again, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And I wish you all the best. And hopefully someday you can come here back to the United States. We'd love to see you again.
Yeah, I will come back. My daughter is more or less forcing me. So, yeah, we're going to come back.
Cool. Well, we'll have a big welcoming party for you.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, Mike, have a great weekend. Take care. Enjoy the weekend. And thank you again.
You too, man.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.